This is off message, but I want to tell you about a dream that I had when I was a young bride of 18. What was I thinking? Well, back to the facts. I was just in deep sorrow because there wasn't enough money to do the things for my babies that I wanted. The house wasn't all the things that my creative imagination could have wished for. And so I had a dream. But ultimately, what the message of the dream was, how can you expect to do better with more until you can do the best with what you have? So that was a very powerful dream that I've never forgotten. Okay, now back to the message. The word destiny and the word destination, destinos, all those words come from the same source, meaning the road. And that's what we all are. We are the many faces of destiny following the one road. We have one thing to do with our destiny. This road, by the way, in the Buddhist tradition is called the Dharma Road, and I'm sure you, in your metaphysical readings, you've all read that. But that's what this is about. It's the road. Fate is another thing. We'll talk about that later. But we are here together to remember and to reach the end remembering who we really are. And the thing about it is, nobody gets out till we all get out. So here we are together trying to remind each other of how to reach the end of the road. This morning I was straightening the bookshelves over there and I came across a book that at one time was the classic book that everyone should have read. This is back in the 1950s. The book is called Tertium Organum, and it's written by Russian mystic P.D. Ouspensky. And somewhere in that book, I remember that it said, the drunk in the gutter may be displaying more of his essence than you. His destiny was to remind us of what we might not want to be. So we're here all serving this purpose of going from point A to point B. You know, while I was thinking about getting up here, this thought came into my mind that, remember in our history when we were children, we learned all these legends and fables and so forth, and they talked about the centaurs and Pan and those things. What if those things were true? And it was our spiritual essence getting into those because we wanted to experience things on earth. Now, the thing about the earth, I understand that it has a reputation of being the insane asylum of the universe. You may have experienced that. So there we are in heaven. We're making these plans. We have this spiritual family that may number thousands. So we get together with a few of them and decide what we want to experience, what lesson we want to learn. So maybe that drunk in the gutter, that was his choice. So we get together with a few of these guys and we write out the script. We have this role that we're going to play. And so we jump in. Here we go, jump into that body. And so we're here, having made the ridiculous decision to accelerate our spiritual growth. What's up with that? Oh God, I made a mistake, please. You know, but it's like a game, isn't it? We jump down here on the game board and we don't know the rules. What does it say in the Bible? It says, the kingdom of God is within you. So we're out here looking, so we get addicted to sex or food or whatever. We're out here looking for all the rules. All along, the rules are in here. We know them. We've got to remember them. So then we get some more of our spiritual family, like our tribe, and they help us to remind us and to remember that we're powerful beings, that we're greater than an addiction of any kind. We're greater than our errors, and that we're here for a purpose. We're here along the road, marching along, trying to remember and becoming powerful, and that's what you guys are here for. You're on your own road with the same rules and the same purpose, but we remind each other and we help each other remember ourselves with the one source of which we're each a part. So there we are. And the thing about it is, when we were up there, we were observers. So we jump into these bodies, and what happens? We become the absorbers. And so we've got to disconnect from that and move back into being the observers so that we can dispassionately remember and remind ourselves and remind each other. But they had the roles. You know, what's this with the rules? So there we are, these powerful beings dancing as fast as we can to see if we can call forth our innate divinity. So we each are holding our unique path to the destiny. But within this path, we are endowed with free will. That really messes with us. And we begin to shape our journey with our spiritual tribe. Not only are there spiritual tribe here, but all those parts that radiate out from us are each part of this committed spiritual tribe. But there are even more in the essence of God that we can't see. Our guides, our angels. Our spiritual support system is so deep that if we just relax, it buoys us up. And now we get to fate. Now, we're all on the same journey, same destiny to get to the end and remember. But things along our individual paths, our unique expressions of fate, pop up and bite us in the butt. I'm going to tell you a story about our youngest son, Mark, who is a football coach at Argyle High School. He's about in his 25th year of coaching. His degree was macroeconomics. I don't know then why that was a choice. I don't know now. His wife balances the checkbook. So he goes through school. He's on a football scholarship and so on and so forth. So at the end of his college career, he gets his degree. He decides to stay over and he thinks he might want to go into go into education. So he becomes the student assistant football coach to pay for the new degree. So his fate has changed. I don't know what made him that. We knew he was a coach at 6 years old when he was bossing everybody around in the loudest possible voice. But anyway, so his first job is at Jasper High School. He gets there, and here's a moment of fate. The coach says, "We're going to start a soccer program. What do you know about soccer?" And he says, "Well, I dated a soccer girl in college. That's it. You're the new soccer coach." So he's been coaching soccer and football until Argyle went into a new AAA, AA, whatever that stuff is. So he couldn't do both any longer, but he's still the assistant soccer coach and just spending part of his time there. So fate channeled Mark, but he still has the same destiny. What he has done has become the father figure for so many troubled kids on his team over 25 years. So he's marching his way home by uplifting. He goes to a traditional church now, but he was raised in unity. So he takes the unity information and changes the language. So all those things that uplifted us as he grew up, he's using for the kids. And so we each may have had things that where we've changed directions. Spirit says, plot twist, plot twist. And so we change. And that's our fate. But the destiny's still the same. We're still getting to the place where we can remember more and more and more. We have a common destiny, but individual fates. The author Paulo Coelho, hope I'm saying that right, says, I can control my destiny, but not my fate. Destiny means there are opportunities to turn right or left, but it's a one-way street. We're still getting to go on our journey. We all have a choice of whether we fulfilled our destiny, but our fate is sealed. We have to have these certain things that come up into our path that we have to face, whether it's something that's a blessing or a learning experience. Oh, I hate those. But anyway, they make us grow. So those things are part of our fate. The destiny's the same. For Glenn and I think that we were fate. We'd each had a life before we met each other. My first husband died. He was getting a divorce and lost his business in the divorce. And so we met each other. And there was so much electricity when we met. We tried for 10 years to go separate ways, and then it didn't work. We just gave up. We knew we were meant to be together. Everybody else knew it. We just hadn't figured it out yet. And so and we didn't have to stretch it out 10 years. But that was just dumb. You know, we could have been saving money. But anyway, we couldn't stop our fate. And since then, we've had such a wonderful life. We've been in many churches as ministers. So fate now suggests you have a blueprint for your life. You set that blueprint into motion. You wrote the script before you ever jumped in that body. The destiny is to remember. So when you complete the task and you're ready to evolve, you know, the fate may say, you have this lesson to learn. Well, okay, you've learned it. You've learned it quicker than you thought you would. And so now it's the next item of fate, the next class you have to take. So there are archetypes of our fate. And as I speak them, you listen, see, you can probably undoubtedly recognize your archetype. You may have more than one archetype of fate. Or at a certain point in your life, that archetype has gone on its way and you've chosen a new one. So here they are. Teacher, that's one of mine. Healer, inventor, innovator, leader, explorer, pathfinder. So you may be exhibiting, maybe you're a professional entertainer. Or maybe you like to move a lot. Look at the signals in your own life, and then you're finished with that. And so you may have more than one, or they may overlap. And it's an opportunity. It's Spirit telling you you have grown if you're ready to change your path. That's your fate. That's changeable. We do have free will. We can change, or we can burrow in and see how deep we want to go into this experience. When you should have changed a long time ago. People get divorced. People are through learning the lesson that they had to learn with the individual that they committed to. And so it's not a lifetime sentence. You can choose to change your path when you realize, I'm done. I've learned enough. Get me out of here, Just like Mark, when he came to a point, he wasn't going to do anything with macroeconomics. And so he came into his true calling, which was always there. I think about my friend. We just got a phone call this week from my friend that had been at one of our churches. And so her question was, she said, I just wanted to talk to you. I want to know why everything is so good for me now. And I know her story. I've lived with her story for many decades. There was a time when she and her husband were having issues. They separated. They came back together, and now life is better than it was. It doesn't always work out that way, but for them, they did. And she just evolved. Well, my answer to her was, and we all find this true, I bet you. I'm assuming you're like me if you're in this place. But we absorb things that we've heard. 30 years this lady has been absorbing, and it hasn't always hit here, but she's absorbing it. She's absorbing it. And one day, she's living it. I remember when we first met her, this lady, and I know you're listening to me next week when this appears, she was bossy. She was the bossiest person you can imagine. Guess what? She's now a leader. She's arranging speakers for the church where she's living now. Wherever she goes, she organizes, and all these things that at the time were bossy, she's refined. She's absorbed what she's hearing, and it's altered her way of being. I'll tell you a funny story. She was living someplace else. We were living here, and we went back to what was actually a party. And so the party was in honor of somebody that had passed. Come right in. We're so happy to have you. So I went in, and we were all dressed casually. And I was wearing pants, trousers, and a top, the kind where you wear camisole underneath and you can see through it. And she said to me, "Isn't that a little bit risque?" And I thought, well, actually, I said, "Oh, God, I hope so." It's wonderful to be 85 years old and you get to be risque. I'm in. And that shirt now, every time it's like those football players that wear these shirts, and it's their lucky shirt, and they don't ever wash it, and they go through the whole season, it gets stinkier and stinkier. Well, that shirt now is imbued with the psychic energy of being risque. So I hold it out for when I need it. But that's what our psychic energy does. I mean, we can use it. I could have taken, and there was a time in my life when I would have taken what she said and just been humiliated and gone in and changed to something prim and proper and obeyed the rules. Well, with that, I'm old, I don't have to. So I changed my blueprint. Albert Einstein says that coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous. So these plot twists, guess what? It's just God being anonymous, helping you recognize that you've got to take the path to the right or to the left. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're still at the same destiny of finding your way back, of remembering who you are. Just like I was no longer that woman that would have bowed to convention and been embarrassed and ashamed and humiliated. No, I've gone a new path. I don't need that lesson anymore. And you've got lessons. What are your lessons that you don't need to have anymore? So now we know that we have several kinds of paths that we're on, and examine ourselves. And remember that your spiritual family just surrounds you in layers and is supporting, helping you remember. So now I have to do what PJ does and give you the action steps. It was hard for me to find action steps in all of this. So just like my experience with this lady that said my top was risque, look at your own filter. Use your own judgment and see how Spirit flows through you and how you can do it. And then when you know what it is, fluff it up. Be all you can be. Be powerful. We'll remind you. And then ask yourself, are you an observer or an absorber of pain? Now that's a powerful one. You get a choice. You can step back and say, what is my lesson? Or you can get down and wallow with the pigs. You know, it's your pain, just take all the glory you can in it till you get the lesson. Ram Dass says, we're only here to suffer, to learn. We don't have to. So are you serving your purpose as someone to help each other evolve, to evolve yourself and not get caught up into the experience? Are you serving yourself and humanity? The common destiny is to find the finish line, arriving, having remembered how powerful you are. We're here to support each other and to remember we're just walking each other home. Thank you.